Is it visible to all?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Let's start with the prayers.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Rama Hare Rama Janashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So these are the prayers offered by Vrutrasura. In short, to tell the story of Vrutrasura, once there was a king by name Chitraketu, and he was very devoted. Only problem was he had many, Bhagavatam says he had almost 1 crore wives, but he didn't have one son. That was his anxiety. One may wonder, why they should be so much worried? Because the kings would consider it is their responsibility that they should have a son so that he can take care of the kingdom next, take care of the praja. They would see all the citizens as their children, and they want to make sure that they are nicely protected. So then, after a long time, once when Angirasa Muni had come, he wanted to give him spiritual knowledge, but Chitraketu Maharaj was not in a position to hear it. Chitraketu Maharaj says that I want to have a son. Seeing that Angirasa Muni says, okay, you will have a son, his name will be Harsha Shloka. That means he'll give you Harsha, happiness, Shloka means lamentation. Chitraketu Maharaj thought, what maximum it can be? He may be too much mischievous, or he may not listen to me. Yes, but better than not having children. And then eventually, his one of the wife, Kritadyuti, she begets a son. And because of the birth of the son, he becomes very much happy. And at the same time, he gives more attention to the child as well as the mother, that is Kritadyuti. Seeing that all the other co-wives, other wives of king, they become envious of Kritadyuti. They come together and they discuss, see, this child is a cause of king not giving attention to us. Na rahegi bas, na bajegi basuri. That means if child is only not there, then we will be getting the attention of king. So they poison the child and the child dies. And then that becomes so much this one for Chitraketu Maharaj that he could not take it. He starts lamenting, and even Kritadyuti also. Their whole, the many verses come in which how Kritadyuti also tells Brahma doesn't have intelligence only, that how can a child live before the father, and many this comes. Then finally at that time, Angiras Muni and then one more, they come there. At that time, Chitraketu Maharaj, he goes to him, and then he says, actually last time only I had come to give you spiritual knowledge, but you are not ready. So I just went back. And that time he tells, he says, I want my son back. Then the Angiras Muni says, see, your son is there only. And if he tells any spiritual, this one, when one is very much in a sorrowful state, they will not be able to listen. So he makes the child come alive. And the child speaks philosophy of how I have taken so many births, like the previously, based on my own karma. And now that the time in this body is over, I am going. So that way, he says, you're speaking of which, I had so many lives, and in that I had so many parents. Hearing all those things, Chitraketu Maharaj comes to the senses. And then he gives him a process by which, just in a very short time, he gets the darshan of Lord Mahasankarshana. And after that, he becomes so immersed in glorifying the Lord, he becomes a Vidyadhara, and then he goes on glorifying the Lord everywhere. One time while he was passing by, he comes to the place where Lord Shiva was sitting. And he was giving a discourse to many, many sages, all the renunciates. But while speaking to all the sages who renounced everything, he was keeping Mother Parvati on his lap, and he was speaking about detachment, how we should not be attached to anything. So from the sky, this Chitraketu Maharaj, he smiles, kind of a, what do you call it? They say like a little giggling or something, that out of what was going on in his mind was, see, Lord Shiva is speaking about detachment to all the sages or renunciates while keeping Mother Parvati on the lap. Only Lord Shiva can do this, because he is also called as Dhira. Dhira means one who is sense control. So because of that, although Mother Parvati is there, he'll not even little bit disturbed. This is the glory of Lord Shiva. That was there. With that mindset, he smiled at seeing that scene. But when Mother Parvati looked, this Chitraketu is laughing at my Lord Shiva. Immediately she curses. You fool, you become a demon. And Vrutrasura doesn't speak anything. Oh, my dear mother, if that is your desire, may that be. And afterwards, Lord Shiva glorifies what is the greatness of a devotee. That the greatness of the devotees of the Lord Narayana, they never retaliate. Although he could have given the counter curse could have happened, but he doesn't do that. He accepts it wholeheartedly. So there he tells that the Narayana Bhaktas are so great that even if whatever difficulties come, they will not be much worried or disturbed about any of those things. So that happens. This is the prelude of who is Vrutrasura. And this, what do you call it? Chitraketu Maharaj, he becomes Vrutrasura in the next life. And in the case of when he becomes Vrutrasura, at that time also that even before that, another incident when the battle between the Devatas and the Daityas and all happens. Always it goes on. Sons of Diti and Aditi. And when that happens, at that time, once the Devatas and all, they had very, because of disrespecting the spiritual master, they lose their strength. And then the Daityas, they become very much powerful. And they wanted to do one tapasya kind of thing. There was one rishi, his name I forgot. His son's name was Vishwarupa. And he was equal to both demons and the Devatas. Devatas, they go and ask him for performing a yajna, he does it. And the Danavas or the demons, they come and ask him, he does for them also. But then Indra becomes very much upset of that. Because of which he goes and he kills the that Vishwarupani. And because of that, the father of Vishwarup becomes upset, and then he creates the demon Vrutrasura, and Vrutrasura comes on attacking. At that time, they didn't know what to do. At that time, like Indra was told that you go to the Rishi. One more sage was there. Dadichi.
Is it? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dadichi. Go to Dadichi and you ask that he should give his bones by which you should make a thunderbolt. And with that you can kill Vrutrasura. And when he goes and speaks to Dadichi, Dadichi speaks initially that, hey, how can one give one's own like bones? One's life is more precious for oneself. How can one give it for others? And Indra speaks about how one should be, what you can say, concerned about the welfare of the others. One should not be selfish. One should be selfless. Even at the cost of giving up one's life, one should be ready to help others. All those things Indra speaks. At the end, Dadichi says, actually, I wanted to hear all these things from your mouth, although I'm not attached to this body. And immediately, like he sits in the meditation and he gives up his body, and then with the bones of Dadichi, the thunderbolt was made. And then the fight starts, and Vrutrasura was, although he was in the body of the demon, he was ferocious, so huge. I'll show the photo sometime. And he was destroying the whole army like anything. And Indra throws his thunderbolt, the other thunderbolt, and then Vrutrasura with his 2 fingers, he takes it and he throws it again, just like sometimes if somebody takes a feather and puts at you, will it make anything or does it hurt you? No, like that. And even with that, when it hits the Airavata on his head, Airavata goes back and falls. And then Indra is there standing now. He is feeling that no, I cannot fight now. That time Vrutrasura tells to Indra, Re Indra, why are you hesitating? You don't have faith in the words of the Lord that you use that thunderbolt and kill me. Indra was still hesitating. He becomes very much Vrutrasura, Are, this fool, he doesn't know that he doesn't have faith in the Lord also. Because although he was this Vrutrasura, he was a demon, but he was a devotee in the body of a demon. So there he offers beautiful 4 prayer, prominent 4 verses, prayers, in which what was there in his heart will come to him. And those are the prayers. And after that, he offers that prayers, remembering the Lord. And then Indra gets little bit of this one and he starts fighting with, he throws that thunderbolt, and then his the hands are cut, and then he falls down. And it took, I think, 1 year for Indra to cut his body, with the thunderbolt. That was Vrutrasura. But at the end, he goes back to the spiritual world. Here we see, externally seeing Indra won, but actually Indra lost. Because he got the position or he won in the battle, but he missed the opportunity of going back to the spiritual world. Whereas Vrutrasura, externally speaking, he lost. But in reality or actuality, he went back to the spiritual world, which is our permanent place, Vaikuntha. So that is the whole pastime of this Vrutrasura. Today we'll try to see what prayers he offers. Beautiful 4 prayers are there. And this he is telling, Aham Hare Tava Padai Kamula Dasanudaso Bhavitasmi Bhuyaha Manasmareta Supater Kunamste Granita Vakarma Karotu Kayaha. So in this he is telling that, my dear Lord, I want to be engaged in your service. I am Hare Tava Padai Kamula. I am constantly I want your lotus feet, shelter at your lotus feet. Pada Eka Mula. Mula means the source. Pada Eka, only your lotus feet. Dasanu Dasa, I am servant of your servant. And bhavitasmi bhuyah, may I become again your servant. Means already I was, now I am in this body, but I want to come back to you and again I want to serve. Manasmareta, in the mind, let me always remember you. Like now, Asupate, Pati means the Lord. Like now, Asupate means Lord of my life. Gunamste Granita Vak. Like let me always speak or glorify with my words your all the attributes of the glories, your gunas, qualities. Gunante Granitavak. And then Karma karotu kayaha, with the body, let me engage, perform services on you. See, three things he is telling. In the mind, let me always remember you. With my words, let me always glorify you and chant your names. And with the body, let me always engage in your service. That's why it is said, everyone has BMW car. Body, mind, and words. So with all these body, mind, words, it should be used for glorifying the Lord. Basically, here is telling, with everything, I want to use it in your service. Aham hare tava padaika mula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmareta supate gunamte granita vakarma karotu kayah. We'll try to recite 3 times. Aham hare tava padaika mula. 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 Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Manasmareta supater gunamste. Manasmareta supater gunamste. Manasmareta supater gunamste. Manasmareta supater gunamste. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. Aham hare tava padaika mula. Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. 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 Manasmareta supatir gunamste. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. 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 Aham hare tava padaika mula. Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Manasmareta supatir gunamste. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. Aham hare tava padaika mula. Dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Manasmareta supatir gunamste. Granita vakarma karotu kayah. Aham hare tava padaika mula. dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuvyaha manasmareta supatirgunamste gurnitava karma karotu kaya aham haretava padaikamula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuvyaha manasmareta supatirgunamste Grunitava karma karotu kaya. Let's repeat until faster. Aham haretava padaikamola dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmareta supatirgunamste granitava karma karotu kaya. Aham haretava padaikamola dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmareta supatirgunamste granitava karma karotu kaya. Aham haretava padaikamola dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmareta sampatirgunamste granitava karma karotu kaya. Aham haretava padaikamula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmareta supatirgunamste granitava karma karotu kaya. Aham haretava padaikamula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmareta supatirgunamste granitava karma karotu kaya. Could you recite?
Prabhuji, can I try with C?
Tomorrow you will try. It's already 7:34.
Okay.
Guruji, can you say the verse numbers?
This is from the 6th canto, 6, 11, 24. 24, 25, 26, 27. 6th canto, 11th chapter, last 4 verses.
Okay, Guruji.
This is the
Okay.
end of that chapter. Okay. So all of you can take the session. We'll join tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru.
Hare Krishna. Any of your class started yesterday? Okay. Sure. Okay. Hare Krishna. We'll join tomorrow.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare